Live streaming is on.
Welcome to episode number 322 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording live on YouTube on September 11, 2020. A ton of things to talk about this week, as we always do, including totally hip books, smart apartments, Wired 25, not fit for human consumption, mad at Disney, new LinkedIn features, Jabbermask, mythic dinosaurs, keywords not provided, drone deliveries, my phone has been drinking, not me, paying for podcasts. Those are some stats on people who will pay for podcasts. Imagine that. You want to stick around for the end of the show, but we kicked off with Best Story of the Week, and Beal always has that honors. Beal, what do you got?
Well, I do not know how this escaped my purview until now, but the Washington Post has something called Totally Hip Book Reviews, and they're these hilarious weekly video book reviews acted out by the book reviewer Ron Charles. So he summarizes the plots of novels. And so, for example, he has Susanna Clark's new fantasy novel called Piranesi, and it gets the treatment in which he acts it out. It's about a man trapped in a watery palace, and he dresses up in all these costumes, and he's in all these different locations. The videos are a riot. And so I ended up on the site, watching them all for quite a while. And back in April, this one I love. He reviewed Machines Like Me by Ian McEwan, in which a couple builds a robot that's not even that a robot human. And that's not the crazy part. My favorite thing in this is when one smart speaker tries to electrify him, Ron Howard, and he says, let me remind you that Sir Isaac Newton's rule was that robots are never to cause harm to humans. And she replies, let me remind you that Sir Isaac Newton is dead.
And it wasn't Sir Isaac Newton, it was Isaac Asimov.
Well, whoever.
Come on, BL! That's a major detail. Isaac Asimov had the three laws of robotics.
Yes, and that was rule number one. You're absolutely
From
right.
iRobot. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
I screwed that up.
So they act out the
whole thing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the robot's trying to kill him. The robot, by the way, is your smart speaker that you love so much.
Yeah. Plenty to talk about that, like right now. This is a story from Greek Wire by Kurt Schlosser. Let me try that again. Kurt Schlosser. How did I not be able to pronounce that? Is the reporter. Anyway, this story caught my eye because my brilliant niece, Jenna, has been working on this project, and it just launched. It's Amazon smart speakers, BL, that they are looks like they're going a B2B route with their smart speakers. They've got I'm not going to say Echo for Residential is the name of the new service, and it's basically a smart speaker management system for property managers. So it makes it easy to deploy and manage voice-enabled devices in apartment buildings. So they're going to sell this to apartment buildings. Residents don't need an Amazon account to use it. They just basically want to create smart apartment buildings. Residents don't need an Amazon account to use it. They don't have to purchase any devices. They don't have to set up anything in the apartment. It just comes with the price of rent. But those who do have accounts can link to it for expanded features like playing your music or calling, doing voice over IP calling. The devices can be reset when residents move out, and then they can be used in vacant units to answer questions of people looking at the unit or demoing features available in the apartment. Property managers don't have access to any customer data, and voice recordings are automatically deleted every day. If a customer links their account to their smart speaker in their apartment, they will have full control over the privacy settings and everything like that. But interesting, fascinating new avenue for Amazon to sell more smart speakers.
Well, it's a vast improvement over what they do in my building, where the guys have walkie-talkies. You know? So I mean, and we have a TV that, like, we can see if anybody's in the laundry room, but you know, that's basically it. But yeah, the handyman and the doorman, they all have walkie-talkies. So this would be an improvement, but I sure don't want my building in my house, any part of it. So I would forego that one. So this is an event that's coming up that sounds really interesting. I signed up for it. This is from Wired Magazine, and the October cover story is the Wired 25, and it's 25 people who are using technology and science to lead society through this whole period of global uncertainty, and they're pointing out how to come to a safer future, a kinder future. And so you can sign up for it. It's completely free. The events take place September 16th, 23rd, and 30th. And there'll be scientists and technologists, activists, and there'll be conversations, insights, and some breaking news. So some of the speakers are the CEO of Nextdoor, Sarah Fryer, that's recently been fairly controversial. This one's interesting. Avi Schiffman, who's a 17-year-old creator of a COVID tracker. There was none, so he invented one. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, is speaking. The digital minister of Taiwan, Audrey Tang, and a lot more people. And so it's open to anybody. And they say if you're interested in current events, news, technology, science, math, entertainment, culture, and thought-provoking conversations that are relevant to our society, you should sign up. So there's a number of different options. All of them are free. Everyone gets access to watching all the sessions, but there were a limited number of all access passes, and I got one of those. And that allows you to submit questions in advance. And then there's going to be participation in networking sessions with the honorees and also Wired editors on the dates September 23rd and 30th. So I'll put a link in the show notes for where you sign up. But that really sounds like an interesting way to spend some time.
Yeah, it does. It's a lot of innovators in one virtual event. So yeah, that looks really good. Speaking of innovation, this is a new Atlas story by Michael Irving. I don't know how I came across this, but once I did, it stuck out like a sore thumb. I had to talk about it. You've been to a grocery store, and maybe you've had this. I feel like I've had it before, this experience before going to a grocery store. It just feels like everybody is actively hating you because they're all wearing masks and you can't see anybody smiling. So it's like, what's going on here? This would solve this problem. There's a guy named Tyler Galil, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He's a game designer. And because there's no expression when you have a mask on, is looking to solve that problem. So he has created a product called Jabbermask. And it's a voice-activated COVID mask. So it has LED readout, LED liquid emitting diode lights that move when you talk. It's voice-activated. You can smile, and it'll create a smile on the mask. It can display emojis on demand, so you can have a love heart. You can have simple words on it like no or okay. If you want to quickly smile, you just make a sound, popping sound with your lips, or there we go.
Yeah.
The protective part that keeps you safe is a simple cotton mask, and those are like most people have. They can be removed from the electronic components, so you can wash them. There's straps that go all the way around your head, and in the back is where the battery pack is. So there's 3 different versions. There's the Jabbermask Lite, which is the basic model, 6x6 LED grid, which is able to display a moving mouth and smile. It's powered by 4 AAA batteries, so it kind of feels like maybe it'd be a little heavy that way. Jabbermask Deluxe has 8x8 LED grid and a rechargeable battery, and Jabbermask Pro has all that plus emoji support that you can control through an Android or iOS app. He's currently seeking funding on Kickstarter for it. So the pledges start at $29 for the light version, $49 for Deluxe, $69 for the Pro. And if all goes to plan, he should begin shipping in May 2021. So I just want to say, Pat, one of our listeners, is a big Kickstarter investor. So here you go, Pat. Here's another thing to try out.
That's really funny. But 6x6 or 6x8 is very large. At least on
see the video. It's a big mask, right? So it fits over your nose and under your chin and everything. So there's a big space there, and you can see a big circle when you're talking and a big smile when you're smiling.
Well, this is an issue for people who are deaf, because they are lip reading. So there is a mask that I saw, also I believe was on a Kickstarter, and the middle part was clear, so that you could see the person's mouth, and that didn't have any batteries. I mean, carrying around 4 batteries on your head is going to get a lot. I saw a cartoon the other day, and it was the mask saying, she had the mask on and she said, okay, I'm carrying your glasses, your earrings. Do you want me to put your bag over my ear? The mask is working hard. But I mean, that's an interesting idea, and I'm sure there's another way to do it. And I also saw somebody on TV the other day, and I couldn't stop looking at it. He had lights moving when he talked on his mask, and it was somebody on the news. And I thought, that is so weird because it's so distracting. But in New York, we have eye motions that we make. I mean, when I pass another dog owner, they know I'm smiling. Anyway, this whole pandemic thing has really had a huge impact on the music business. And so this is a story about how TikTok is involved in the music business right now, making hits. And this is about someone named Salem Ilese, and she had kind of a modest fan base before her latest single, which is called Mad at Disney, went viral on TikTok. And now it's earning more than 1 million streams a day on Spotify just alone, as well as other platforms. And so she was basically, she wrote it with some other people, and they had a conversation about how Disney movies give a false view of relationships. And so now it's this really danceable single. It came out in July, and about a month later, it was adopted en masse by users on TikTok, and it was earning around 20,000 streams a day on Spotify in August, but now it's up to 1 million, and it's one of the top 100 tracks on Spotify. So before this, she had a kind of a modest record deal, and her manager said, this is the craziest data I've ever seen on a song. And she said, growing up, and I know exactly what she means, growing up, you expect a prince and a white horse to come and rescue you from the tower, but in reality, you get boys in high school who are scared of commitment and stand you up for a date. So in the single second verse, she jokes about Cinderella eventually getting a divorce, and the prince is unfaithful to his sleeping beauty. So she said she uploaded the video to TikTok. She uploaded a video to TikTok. She was new to it, that she just made in a few minutes, and that post suddenly got 40,000 views. So her team that she worked with encouraged her to start posting more, and a few clips later, she uploaded a video of her single, Mad at Disney, and she woke up the next day and it already had thousands of views, and it's now had 1.2 million views on YouTube and 73,000 likes. And, TikTok has become a huge place for music. TikTok users anoint a song on a daily basis and by hourly basis, and, the music industry people, executives, have become like ambulance chasers to go after the new hot thing and sign that person immediately. So it's really interesting, and it's an adorable song. I'll post it in the show notes.
So she wants Disney to make more movies of people having nasty breakups.
Real life. She wants real life. No prince is coming.
Nobody wants to watch a real life romance that ends poorly.
Marriage Story, let's go there. Was a big hit. I mean,
Disney doesn't make those kind of movies.
Well, there's
a reason for that.
They should. Well, I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
That's funny. Yeah, I can see the appeal of the song though. I absolutely get why it's so popular. So
she says love is hell, and it is.
There's lots of people who can relate to that, definitely.
Yeah.
So speaking of something that's popular and shouldn't be, PDFs.
I hate them.
So a lot of people do. This is from a Nielsen Norman Group, wonderful organization. The piece is by Jacob Nielsen and Anna Cayley, who basically write that it's PDFs are unfit for human consumption. I saw the headline. I'm like, finally, somebody said it, but. He said it 20 years ago. I didn't know that, but he wrote a piece 20 years ago about how PDFs are awful. I'm going to read the first two sentences or paragraphs, basically, just to give you a flavor of it. And it's great. They do analysis, so they do user data, and they test it out and give you great data on user experiences and everything. So this is based on the data. But when you read the actual article, there's so much contempt for PDF that comes through in the actual article. And it's funny as well as very informative and great data. So here we go. Jacob Nielsen first wrote about how PDF files should never be read online in 1996. Only 3 years after PDFs were invented. Over 20 years later, our research continues to prove that PDFs are just as problematic for users. Despite the evidence, they're still used far too often to present content online. PDFs are typically large masses of text and images. The format is intended and optimized for print. It's inherently inaccessible, unpleasant to read, and cumbersome to navigate online. Neither time nor changes in user behavior have softened our evidence-based stance on the subject. Even 20 years later, PDFs are still unfit for human consumption in the digital space. Do not use PDFs to present digital content that could and should otherwise be a web page. End of quote. So again, someone said it, and the article is really good. It's fairly long. It's well worth the read. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But they cite their user data of how people often say, and I got stuck in a PDF, which is totally the user experience. So there we go.
I hate them. So I'm on to my worst news, and this is...
All right, hold on. I got one more.
Oh, you got it. That,
yeah.
Okay.
This is a quick one. LinkedIn.
Bad one.
I know, right? The good part was somebody finally said it.
Okay.
LinkedIn has some new features. This is from a Search Engine Land article by Ginny Marvin. So LinkedIn page owners now can see who is following them, and they can sort their follower lists by their current company, by industry, by location, and get insights for their followers. So how they found the page and when they found it. So there's some additional insight data that you're going to be getting now with it as a page owner. The company tab was designed for employees and has features like employee milestones, so you can announce promotions, You can announce anniversaries, new hires. It will show trending content that's posted by posted on LinkedIn by employees. It'll also show intercompany connection recommendations. So if you're a huge organization, it'll say recommend to you this another employee that you should know. And they're going to be adding content creation and live broadcasting tools. There's also some new events features that we'll link to the article in the show notes.
People can stop sending me PR pitches in which they tell me about their new hires and their new accounts and make it otherwise obvious that they've never read anything I wrote. I like that. Okay, so bad news?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just not from The Onion, and it is proof of why we really don't need Facebook anymore. A Facebook group wants a local McDonald's to remove the statue of a dinosaur that's been there for several decades because they don't believe dinosaurs existed. So the Facebook group is called Christians Against Dinosaurs, and they called for the removal of this dinosaur statue in front of a Touson McDonald's franchise. So they denounced this fiberglass T-Rex statue that's been there since 1994 on their Facebook page, and they called for their followers to go to a rally in an effort to remove the statue. So the post has since been deleted, but it also included the contact information of the franchisee, and the organization owns a lot of McDonald's in the Touson area. So according to its Facebook page, Christians Against Dinosaurs seek to reveal the truth about dinosaur lies, claiming that creatures never existed. It says dinosaurs are a scam invented by scientists to thwart religion. Over 23,000 people like this page on Facebook, which is a cesspool. So when reached for comment by Patch, which is where this story came from, Christians Against Dinosaurs said that the group's mission is not a joke. So there's also a Facebook group called Dinosaurs Against Christians. Dinosaurs Against Christians who are dinosaurs that has 45,000 members, while Christians Against Dinosaurs only has 19,000 members. And then there's a smaller group that's called Christians Against Dinosaurs. We're fed up with everybody acting like the people of Tucson are imbeciles, and we want to help, a spokesperson for the group said. Having a big dinosaur outside a cultural hub like McDonald's makes Tucsonians look like they're mentally deficient, and that isn't right. And the group also takes issues with the claim that its page is satirical, saying they are not science deniers. They just don't believe in dinosaurs. This is a quote, we simply recognize that dinosaurs are not supported by anything scientific. They are a parlor game that got out of hand.
I think that sounds like a Russian meddling thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it totally sounds like something like they're inviting people to an event about something absurdly ridiculous that
happened.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it happened, but I think it wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that it was a Russian plant thing, like to get people all riled up over something that's so absurd. But yeah, I want to join the other group now.
I'm so done with Facebook. I really
am. So this is this is going to hurt, I think. This is another article from Jenny Marvin at Search Engine Land on Google has decided in their infinite wisdom that they are going to limit some of the search terms, reporting search terms that you pay for when you're buying Google ads. So you bid on keywords, and they are apparently going to limit that. Anybody who has been doing search engine optimization for many years remembers back in the day when we got all the search data from Google Analytics, and then Google decided that they were going to cut off everything, and now you have in your reports not provided, and you don't get any keyword data. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen with Google Ads, because that's what you're bidding on. That's what you're paying for. We need to know that data. So they began alerting advertisers that they'll soon stop showing search queries that triggered their ads when there is not significant, quote unquote, data. There's a quote in the article that says, we are updating search terms report to only include terms that were searched by a significant number of users. As a result, you may see fewer terms in your report going forward. They have a statement that says, in order to maintain our standards of privacy and strengthen our protection around user data, we have made changes to our search terms report to only include terms that a significant number of users search for. We're continuing to invest in new and efficient ways to share insights that enable blah, 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 blah. So it depends on the word significant. People do enter personal data into search engine terms, so there's some legitimacy to that. But if your keyword is showing up for one search per month versus 25, 50, 100 searches per month, and that's not significant, it is to the person who's paying for the ads, because we don't know what we're paying for anymore, or we don't know what keywords to not include, to exclude from our search advertising. So this is a big hold your breath and hope it's not that bad kind of thing.
But then again, it's Google, and many times they do something like this, and then there's a hue and cry from the community, and then they undo it. So hopefully that's one of those things.
Yeah.
So Amazon and Walmart have both announced their drone delivery services, and they started this week. So hey, what could go wrong? Where you are in Shaska, I'm sure that there's much more possibility that a drone could deliver a package to you than it could to me in an apartment building in New York. But, this is from a Bloomberg story by Matthew Boyle. And Walmart started piloting drone delivery for grocery and household items from its stores in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's from an Israeli startup called Flytrex Aviation, and they can fly about 6.2 miles, carrying packages up to 6.6 pounds. And they take off from a landing pad near the store. So I think that a 6.6 pound package dropped on the ground would not be a good thing. But Amazon had a head start with drones. Last month, they became one of only a handful of companies certified by the government to operate as a drone airline. So that allows Amazon to have its first commercial deliveries in the U.S. Under a trial program, and it unveiled the idea that it was going to do that last year, but now it's starting. So Walmart's SVP of customer products, whose name is Tom Ward, said, "We know that it will be some time before we see millions of packages delivered via drone." That still sounds a bit like science fiction. Yeah. But there's just so many things that can go wrong. It's not even funny.
I'm like, why do you have this in worst? This is awesome.
Well, because just a week ago, a drone almost caused 3 planes to crash in New York. And drones. You can't have them in populated areas. You can have them in a suburban environment. You can have them where there are houses, but you can't really have them in cities.
Yeah, well, you deliver. Not that they're going to do this. I think you in the cities are out of luck with the drone delivery stuff for all the reasons that you cited. But you could, make the deliveries on the roof and have everybody. But are you going to deliver groceries on the roof? I don't think so.
My roof is 30 stories high.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, but we can't get up there.
Then it's up to your management to deal with it.
Well, I think it's a lousy idea, but anyhow, that's good.
This could possibly be another lousy. Do you like Tom Waits, Bill?
I do.
One of my favorite Tom Waits songs, one of the best songs ever written, is "The Piano Has Been Drinking." The piano has been drinking, not me. Not me. I love that song. It's just brilliant. So I say that because the smartphone has been drinking, not me. Not me. This story is by Wired's Matt Simon, who reports that your smartphone should be able to figure out that you've been drinking now. Great. Apparently, there are subtle and not so subtle changes in your gait that can betray whether your alcohol level. So if you're carrying your smartphone around, the onboard accelerometer can pick up those changes. There's some scientists at the University of Pittsburgh who have published research showing that they can use a smartphone motion detector motion data to detect if a subject is intoxicated with an average accuracy of 93%. So what they did is they strapped an ordinary smartphone to the lower backs of the subjects in the study and got their baseline gaits. So they had people walk 10 steps forward, turn around, walk 10 steps back, and then they repeated that when they were drunk. And they got them drunk really quickly because there's only so much time to conduct a study, right? So you can't leisurely get drunk. You need to get drunk right away. So they did that, and over the course of an hour, once an hour, over the course of 7 hours, they had them doing that as their blood alcohol level peaked and waned, because different people have different responses. If you have higher tolerance for alcohol, you might not walk as differently, and blah blah blah. So there's a bunch of different factors that came into that. But the smartphone was logging the motion of all the subjects during this study. They used mathematical models to compare the gaits and arrived at the accuracy. There's another Worcester Polytechnic Institute scientist named Emmanuel Agu, who he and his co-workers have used a smartphone to detect to measure intoxication, sway, I think is the technical term for it. And they even built a drunken detecting app called AlcoGate. Is anybody going to voluntarily use this app is my question. But by monitoring the gait, so there are some positive reasons for this. Health experts could better predict when a person's problematic drinking might occur. Addictions are no
keys away.
You take your car keys away, exactly. But also, addictions are notoriously difficult to treat. It takes continuous treatment and case management and all that stuff over the course of a year, basically, where people go to their appointments, they don't drink, they do all these things they're supposed to do in order to get sober. And so this could play a role in helping people overcome their addictions. I imagine it probably would be applicable to other types of addictions. I imagine you probably have a different gait if you're high on heroin or something, So
yeah,
there you go.
Moving.
But I don't want my phone knowing I'm drunk.
Well, unless it does something about it. I mean, if it doesn't allow you to unlock your car, or if it makes you, if it calls you a cab. I mean,
I don't think the drunk driving is not nearly an issue. It was pre-pandemic.
Well, I think it's probably a bigger issue. Are you kidding?
No, people aren't going out to bars. I mean,
unless you're going out to bars, they're staying home getting drunk.
Right, that's the point. It's the drunk driving is not an issue, as much of an issue anymore.
Wow. Okay, I don't have any more bad news. That was my bad news.
All right.
So
I'm done.
I'm on to smiles. And this is again about dinosaurs. I'm fixated on dinosaurs this week. This is
good thing to be fixated on.
Yes, this is the coolest thing. You can put in your zip code and you can find out what dinosaurs lived near you, thousands of years ago. And, there actually were 3 different kind of dinosaurs in New York. And you can, you can see where your friends live. And it's an interactive map. It's just adorable.
What kind of dinosaurs live in New York?
I remember, I didn't write them down, but I recall that there was a very big one and there were 2 smaller ones.
That narrows it down.
and 2 smaller ones.
Okay.
And I have another one.
Okay.
This is so much fun. This is called Window Swap. And this is from the New Yorker. And the headline on it was The Joys of Looking Out Someone Else's Window. And so it's a pandemic project by this couple they're 2 advertising executives who live in Singapore. And they were tired of looking out their own window at their own view. And so this app it's actually a website. The website lets you enjoy the view from other people's windows. So how it works is like you feel a little bit better because you're seeing something, you can responsibly explore, because we can't go anywhere, the beautiful places on the planet that you're going to go if we can ever go anywhere again. So how it works is that users record from their windows. They can use ambient sound, and you can get a little peek inside the house too. So you might look at a home in Italy, or brooks in Bavaria, or sunsets in Sao Paulo, rainy New York from 20 stories up. It's so addictive. Like you look at one and then you want to see another. So a big button on the site says, open a new window somewhere in the world, and you click on it, and then these randomly selected things will appear. And you see the first name of the person who did the video and their location. It's absolutely mesmerizing. I think I spent an hour there the first time.
I see an updated version of, or remake of, for the COVID era, Rear Window. Exactly.
That's really what it is. Yeah. I mean, because in some of them people are moving, and some there's traffic, and some it's very idyllic, and some you hear what's happening inside the house. Yeah, it's really voyeuristic in a certain way.
Yeah.
So shiny objects.
Yeah, I got one. I haven't tried it out yet, but I am like 95% sure I'm going to be trying it out on a project I'm working on. It's got subscribers.com. And you go to a website, usually the news websites or something, and they have a little pop-up. Do you want to be notified when this site is updated? Most of the time,
no.
I don't. Yep, because I don't want to be bothered with notifications from stuff that I don't care about. But for some sites, I do, absolutely. So my local news site, I do. There's whether that information is critical to you, then you're going to sign up, which this provides the infrastructure for doing that. It gives you browser notification. You can put in code in your website, and it'll activate that browser notification service. So the pop-up notifications for your visitors, it works on desktop and mobile. And you can schedule in advance. And again, like I said, the people who aren't that interested, who aren't that into you, are not going to subscribe. But those who really are, then you're getting a very active audience who are willing to subscribe and get those notifications, right? So they're a valuable audience. The pricing is free for up to 200 subscribers per month. And then it goes from $29 to $99 with additional features added on. We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
I can see that would have usage. Yeah. So I came across something called PNGHut this week, PNGHut. And there's millions of free download images that you can use for any project. And I got a lifetime premium sub with unlimited downloads for $29. And there are also images with licensing fees, but I found really dozens and dozens of great free ones. So I highly recommend that you take a look at it.
Very cool. You got a project, BL.
I do. Scott Scowcroft and I made a video for my client Tick Ease, and his YouTube channel about a few weeks ago had a video go viral that was a video of him taking a tick out of his dog, and it's now been seen 12 million times. But in the thousands and thousands of comments, repeatedly people said, "Did that hurt the dog when you took the tick out?" So we made a video about how it doesn't hurt the dog, and we made it sort of cartoonish and funny, and kind of like to take the yick out of the tick, and so we just posted that tonight as a premiere on YouTube. But take a look at it; it's really kind of fun.
It's very cute. How do you? I replied to EL when she sent BL when she sent it to me. Goes, I didn't know that you could make ticks cute, but
we managed. Yeah,
that's very cool. What do we got next? Politics. So I just want to say, as of today, I looked it up. It's 9/11 today, the biggest attack on our country since Pearl Harbor. It's the 19th anniversary. On that day, 2,977 Americans died in that attack. But as of today, 193,000 people have died of COVID. So we had an attack from without on 9/11 in 2001, and now we have an attack from within. That's my politics for today.
Is it ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to read the Woodward book, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he took down Nixon, and I'm just hoping he can take down this clown.
We will see, I guess.
But all of it is a way of covering up the statements about veterans, the deaths of COVID. I mean, every day there's the news cycle is 10 minutes, and every day there's something else. But if you look at it critically, it's all done to get the media to cover the latest outrageous thing that he says, and the media does it. So
yeah, well, this Woodward book is not part of that, though. I mean,
no.
18 interviews to trying to get Bob Woodward to like him. I mean, come on.
I mean, really, nobody likes him. That was my favorite trending hashtag. Nobody likes you, Donald, on Twitter. But anyway, yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah. All right, let's get beyond this. I got a pro tip. It comes from Rand Fishkins at Spark Toro, who has a post that's we'll put a link to the show notes. You got to read it. It is outreach tips that are better than anything that you'll find, and they are. And the gist of it, it's long, too long, didn't read kind of thing. But the gist of it is just give, be generous, and you'll get a lot more in return. I always say you need to give to get. And so I'm just going to quote a little bit, one little snippet from it, but it's well worth the read. Here it goes. You just need to forge new, more creative paths to your goals. Instead of asking for links, ask people to be guests on your short, punchy, well-edited video series that helps amplify something important to them. Ask people to contribute data to a project they'll later be likely to amplify. Ask people to join your private community/discussion list. Ask them to connect in unusual, interesting, creative, surprising ways. The relationship you build long-term leads to links, direct and indirect, from a far wider variety of sources than your old link begging campaign. It's great. It's exactly what I like. BL, you and I get these requests all the time, and they just get deleted. It's like, it's not, no, I don't care about your thing. And I don't know who you are.
For a link, we want to put a do follow link on your blog post, I mean, and there are people who have services that sell those. Yeah. That's why we're hearing from these people. These people and the ones who want to write a guest post when they know you've never had one.
Right.
I love them. Yeah.
So let's wrap this up. This is paying for podcasts. This is from YouGov. It is based on 2,600 U.S. adults, among of whom roughly half listen to podcasts. So it's a survey from 2020, June 2020. Of the 50% of U.S. adults who listen to podcasts, around 1 in 6, 17%, have paid to listen to one, while a majority are open to a mix of free and paid podcast models. I am just shocked at that, actually.
Really? I didn't
even know that people were paying for podcasts. So I'm going to seek out some of those and see what they're about that people would actually pay for. There's some demographics on these. percentage of U.S. adult podcast listeners who have ever paid or donated money to access or listen to a podcast. There's a difference between paying and donating too, I guess.
Yeah.
21% are male, 12% are female, 20% 18 to 34, 20% 35 to 54, and 8% 55 plus. 22% black, 18% Hispanic, 15% white, 16% no high school or a high school grad, 14% some college 2-year, 17% 4-year, and 23% post-grad. So interesting data, but the big headline was, what? People pay for podcasts?
Not that I know of,
Yeah.
but we must be missing something.
Exactly.
So that brings us to the end of episode 322 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And my charming co-host is David Erickson. He's on Twitter as D Erickson. He's on Instagram as DE Erickson. He's on YouTube as eStrategy, and he blogs at eStrategyblog.com. I'm BL Ochman. I'm on Twitter as What's Next. I blog at what'snextblog.com. I'm on YouTube as What's Next Blog. I have a website at blochman.com. And Lucy the Rescue Puppy is an Instagram that a lot of people seem to like. The Beyond Social Media Show, you find it just by searching Beyond Social Media Show. Our website is beyondsocialmediashow.com. On Twitter, we're BS Media Show, and you can find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. We are on every platform you might be listening to, and we welcome you to subscribe and leave us reviews. And we'll be back next week.
Thanks for watching.